Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode here. First fight of the night, we got Sergey Spivak versus Jared Vanderaa. Spivak has 3 wins and 2 losses in his last 5 fights, and Vanderaa has 4 wins and 1 loss. Vanderaa, the slight underdog at plus 175, and Spivak, the moderate favorite, minus 230 from Moldova. What do you got in this fight?
Jared Vanderaa is coming in after the Contender Series. He's been around the block a little bit on the regional scene. He's actually competed in 5-round fights there. He actually lost that one by submission. But just the fact he went 5 minutes in a regional fight means he can go the distance. He's the bigger man in this fight. I'd be worried about either of these guys if they ended up on bottom in this one, honestly. As far as Vanderaa, he's got a good chin. He throws a lot of low kicks. He even said something about beating Justin Gaethje's ratio for leg kicks. Pretty crazy. And on the other side, you got Spivak, who's a Sambo wrestler, and he does it pretty much as well as any heavyweight we've seen out there. He's pretty athletic as far as heavyweights go. He's a smaller guy, but he uses it at heavyweight. It's one of those weight classes where there's advantages to being a smaller guy sometimes, and he definitely makes the most of those.
What do you think the chances of if he's throwing leg kicks? Because Spivak likes single leg takedowns. What do you think? Do you think he can use that?
Yeah, especially if Vanderaa is coming out in media telling him he's gonna throw leg kicks. I think a good game plan would probably be work around that. But I mean, just counters for everything, and I think that the takedown will definitely be there. Spivak also has some crazy ground and pound, so it's quite possible that this one could be decided on the mat. I think the Sambo background is definitely going to be the biggest difference in this one, though. I think that Spivak's definitely going to be able to control him.
Yeah, I think Spivak will be able to grapple with him and stay even standing in the clinch. And you see Vanderaa, he's going to have like 20 pounds in this fight on Spivak. So I think that usually could be helpful, but I think in heavyweight, depending on who's fighting, Spivak, he's got the cardio. We know that he has the cardio. He's fought in 3 rounds. Not 5-round wars, but he's fought in 3 rounds, and he looks fresh. And if he does get the fight to the mat, well, either way, either fighter gets the fight to the mat. Whoever's on top is going to have the advantage. And Spivak has some crazy good ground game too, like underrated probably. I think the prop in this one to bet would be Spivak on a double chance for KO or sub. Because if he gets the ground and pound.
Yeah, I could definitely see. If it was going to be a knockout, I think it'd be on the ground.
Yeah.
I think Vanderaa, though, they're going to clash in the middle when this fight starts. And I think it's going to be really important who really pushes the other guy and takes the octagon. Because if Spivak lets Vanderaa push him around and this dude throws aggressive, wild, looping hooks, and he could definitely get caught. It's the heavyweight division. Anything could happen. It could just take one. But as far as the overall game plan and what they bring to the table, I'm taking Spivak on this one.
Yep, same as me. Spivak, the prop, mission KO. All right, we got Zababi versus Rodriguez here in this one. Zababi. I can't pronounce his name. He's the brother of, what's his name?
Faraz Zahabi.
Faraz, the coach of GSP.
Yep.
Yep.
At TriStar there in Canada.
He's 7-2. He's got 2 losses in a row, and if he loses this one, he's probably gonna get cut from the UFC. And Rodriguez is 4-1 in his last 5. He is the slight favorite at 190. Rodriguez is only 24 years old. The great Dracolini.
Good nickname.
Clickbait for a video. Zababi, 33 years old. Pretty old difference there.
Yeah, and he doesn't have he doesn't really have the resume to show that age either. It's kind of coming in late.
And he likes to stay on the outside.
Yeah.
He doesn't really initiate too much. He's like a counter striker, right?
Yeah, I mean he'll get in your face and he'll make you throw, but he's waiting to counter you. He's definitely got a full like array of skills to fight everywhere, but he doesn't really put the game plan together. It's all there, but he would rather stay on the feet and bang with you. But when you talk about Draco Rodriguez, all you can say about him is this guy is wild. And as far as it goes on the ground, he was a white belt in 2019, and he's just been subbing people like crazy. He's aggressive on the ground. He will go for that submission. That lost to Tony Gravely. That's a guy who used to fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one, but you got to get those to move forward. Yeah, I think Ahmed Zahabi needs to be aggressive in this fight, and if he's gonna keep it on the feet, he's got to also control where the fight takes place, not just get into a war with this guy.
If you look at his pro career here when he started against Derrick Perez, guillotine, TKO, kick, knocked out, punches, knockout, guillotine, knockout, arm bar. He's only got one decision.
One decision on there. Wow.
So he's looking to finish the fight.
Always, yeah, he comes out crazy.
And that points to my another one that I'm saying, Draco Rodriguez by KO or sub, double chance. That way, if he subs him, because he could sub him.
Yeah, I could see it. I think if he wins, it's going to be inside the distance, and I think on the other side of that, if Zahabi wins, he's going to outsmart him. Maybe, yeah, he could expose a weakness in Draco's game. It's definitely possible. It's his UFC debut, so he's
Maybe
definitely at a little bit of a disadvantage there. But I think
the nerves might get to him.
Yeah, I think Zahabi's record's also a little peppered there too. So I think it's a good fight. I think it'll be competitive. It's close, but I think I'm gonna go Draco on this one. I think he's too aggressive, and I think he brings the right tools to the game. He might not be this complete fighter as Zahabi, but I think he just has that aggression that will probably really give Zahabi a lot of problems.
I think Rodriguez is going to come out here and KO him in round 1. I know you said about maybe a sub, but I'm looking at the card, and let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The UFC is not telling you anything, but there's 9 fights in 3 hours, and they're usually putting on 6 fights in 3 hours. They're expecting finishes on this card.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that.
So I think Rodriguez is going to come out here and starch him in the first round. So
Wow.
keep that in mind.
Zahabi's a well-rounded test. I'd be impressed. I would send Draco up there. He's not getting any more easy fights after that if that happens.
So we're both on Draco?
I think so.
All right, moving on to Skelly versus Emmers. And you're pretty hype on Skelly.
I like Chad Skelly in this fight. I don't know all of what I can get from Chad Skelly, but I know he can scramble. He's awkward on the feet, but it seems more effective than it looks. It looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing, but
Do you compare him to Ben Askren this morning?
I did compare him to Ben Askren a little bit. As far as the records, he might not be. I mean, 18-3, he's not that far off, but I think they're similar. He just seems a little bit more developed. Like, it doesn't look quite as. I mean, it looks awkward on the feet. It's just, yeah. The problem with him is he have trouble against other really gritty guys. With Jason Knight and Darren Elkins there, both those losses are hard fought ones. That was a good fight against Jason Knight. I watched that one this morning too. And on the other side, you got Jamal Emmers, who's fought a wide array of people you guys have heard of.
Giga Chikadze. But the guy I told you about this morning, the lightweight, Hernandez was his name. Anthony Hernandez. He fought him. I found it.
Okay.
I don't know where he's at, but I know he fought
Right there.
Alexander Hernandez.
See that.
And he beat him.
A lot of split decisions on Emmers' record. He's got a win over Corey Stanhagen by unanimous decision.
Corey
Which
Stanhagen.
has aged well. That split decision lost to Gigi Chikadze. I don't know how much I put in it to Emmers. I know a lot of people are high on Chikadze, but I feel like
Short
he was
notice,
just
too, though.
sitting back and waiting.
That was a short notice fight for him.
I just felt like, I mean, I think he could have won it a lot more decisively. He just stayed on his bike and won it. But what I do like about Jamal Emmers is he fights long. He's got good power and puts on a good pace. He really wants to fight from range, but if he does get in close, he's got some nasty knees he can throw up the middle that could give Chad Skelly some issues. I think his wrestling's decent, but he gets himself he throws a lot into his punches, and sometimes that can put him in an unfavorable grappling position, and I think Chad Skelly might be able to take advantage of that. The dude can grapple, he can look for a submission, he can wrestle, and on the feet he's no joke either. It's weird when it's coming at you. It doesn't look like it's gonna hit you, and you fall back. And I think Emmers is gonna think he's out of range and get caught. And in the long game, I like Chad Skelly.
All right. And I'll explain to you why I'm on Jamal Emmers. I like Jamal Emmers because if you look at the stats, the only way Emmers is in trouble in this fight is if he gets to the ground. But Skelly only has a 34% takedown accuracy, first of all. On the feet, he's already 3 strikes behind significant strikes a minute. And if you look at the accuracy, 40% to 52%. So Emmers is all around beating him. It's just, can he deal with the awkwardness of Skelly? That's what I'm seeing.
The awkwardness and also the experience. This dude's been on the UFC roster for coming on 5 years now. He's not like he's an aged guy, though. He hasn't fought that much in that time as far as ring time.
He's 36. I don't like betting on old guys. Basically 36. 35 and 9 months. 36. So, I mean, I'm on Emmers.
I'm on Skelly on this one.
Skelly. We'll go on to the next one. Shayna Dobson versus Casey ONeill. Now, I don't really know much about ONeill, but I do know Shayna Dobson isn't really that good. Although, she did pull off that upset. But
biggest upset, like one of the biggest ones last year. She was at plus 900 in that fight.
But I think
against Agapova.
I think about
Agapova.
Agapova. I think she killed herself that fight. And
for sure, she let out all the gas in that first round, and I think that Dobson was just well rounded enough to be able to take advantage of that. She definitely outlasted her in that fight. She actually she's tied for the most KOs in the weight class with Valentina at 2. Both of those they were in one-shot knockouts. They were beating on the opponent until they either gave up from exhaustion or were just outpointed and were losing the fight and wanted to get out of there. ONeill on the other side making a UFC debut, undefeated against low-level regional competition. She trains out of Tiger Muay Thai with Peter Yan and
Rafael
Fiziev. And she's definitely been working on her striking there. She uses her striking as a tool to get you to the ground where she is really dangerous. Like I said, it's been against local-level competition. Maybe that's just all you can get out there in Australia and New Zealand. I'm not sure, but on the ground, once it gets there, she has got arm bars. You can take your neck. And it's something Shayna Dobson's definitely going to have to watch out for in this one.
I always forget, is it strawweight that's below featherweight for women?
Yeah.
All right, that's something to note also coming into this fight. Dobson's fighting at the natural weight, and Casey ONeill is the same size as her, but she's fighting for the first time at flyweight. She weighs in at 115 usually. She weighs in at 126. And for somebody who's 23 years old, for Casey ONeill, you see she's training at Southside, Tiger Muay Thai, like you mentioned, and the boxing gym. So she's really dedicated to her craft.
Right, and fixing all the holes in her game. She wants to be well-rounded.
I just think she's not going to have the nerves get to her. I think she's going to be too much for Dobson.
Yeah.
I think that she's going to light her up on the feet just a little bit too much. And
I agree.
She ain't going to get out-grappled on the ground.
I mean, this is tough matchmaking from the UFC to give Shayna Dobson another up-and-coming fighter after she just put the brakes on one hype train.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's definitely something to consider, that she has the experience in the UFC. But I like the overall game plan from Casey ONeill, and I think she's going to get a submission victory in this one.
All right. So we'll move on to Rafael Alves versus Patsabatini. Sabatini is fighting out of PA, for all the people watching here from PA. Trains with Sean Brady. You know how I am with Sean Brady. So, Rafael, though, in his last 5 has won every fight, and Pat in his last 5 is 4-1. And the odds aren't too far apart. Pat's a plus 165 underdog. Both 30-year-old, 5'8", 5'9". That's all I can see there.
Patsabatini is he won the Pan American No-Gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, so he's dangerous on the ground. I've also seen him getting he was the featherweight CFFC champion, where he won by knockout, I believe. I saw him have a knockout in his last fight there. So he's got power in his hands, but he's up against a guy who has been around the block. I saw that Dana White said about Rafael Alves that he normally wouldn't sign a guy with a 19-9 record at the time, because it's not usually when the guys go into the prime of their career.
But if you look,
he has fought all around Brazil, jungle fights and WXC.
Since 2016, he hasn't lost a fight, and he's also, from that time, improved. In his last 3 fights, he's got finishes. He's got a guillotine choke in the second round, a knockout in the second round, and another guillotine in the third round. So he's just improving.
He can last.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely can last. He's really big for 145, so it would worry me that maybe the frame's too big and he might not be able to keep up the same kind of pace at the UFC level. But is Sabatini the UFC level? We don't really know yet. I like Rafael's wide stance. He keeps his hands really high, and he tries to entice you into a fight. If you miss, he'll reach away or look away, and he's a little cocky in that way. But it could get him in trouble. I've seen him lose on the ground. I've seen him outpointed. I think sometimes you need those to learn. So this is definitely a really close fight, not one I would have on any parlays. I don't think either of these guys are a good parlay piece.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't bet this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, even though Patsabatini is the local guy, I think I'm going to have to pick Rafael Alves in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rafael just because I don't know who Patsabatini is yet. So, I mean.
Yeah.
He could,
hopefully he shocks the world.
He could impress us, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So now we got Julian Rosa versus Nate Landwehr. Nate the Train Landwehr. So in this fight, I don't think you're going to see anybody blocking, and I think you're going to see a lot of violence. So
fight of the night written all over it.
I don't know about fight of the night. Maybe knockout of the night, performance of the night.
Nah, both these guys can stand and bang. Both of them can take a punch, too. They're tough guys.
You can only take so much, and in my opinion, I think Nate is just a better all-around fighter here. And Rosa is just living off of the last fight against, what's his name?
Sean Woodson. Yeah, never liked that guy. Tiny leg.
I think that he's getting hype off that fight, and I don't think he's going to last too long against Nate here in the cage.
That's a bold prediction. Julian Rosa, this is his third stint in the UFC, and they haven't always gone his way. I mean, he said they had his last win against Woodson, which he wasn't favored, and he got knocked down in that fight. He got right back up, right back in it. Julian Rosa is good on the ground. He's got jiu-jitsu, and he's got power on the feet too. Thing I don't like about him is this guy keeps his hands really low and just kind of rocks back and forth so predictably that his opponents end up catching him over and over again. And this guy gets hit a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen him finish on the ground. This dude is he likes to sit and guard underneath the guys and kind of just entice them to do something, but he ends up just getting pieced up down there. I've seen him calling for action, and then the guy starts punching him, and then the fight's over because he got TKO'd.
And in this fight, it's not going to be there unless he takes it there.
No,
that's the only way it's going to be there.
Yeah, well, Landwehr is a beast. He's got that confidence, that swagger about him, and he marches forward. He's a guy at M1 Global and had a lot of good fights over there, a lot of good competition. Not everything's gone his way in the UFC, but he does have a tough win over Darren Elkins, which is another gritty wrestler type guy, which is a good one to have.
He lost to Herbert Burns by a knee
UFC
knockout.
debut, yeah, which he was super big coming into the UFC, so that was a tough one for him.
And Herbert Burns isn't I wouldn't say he's not top tier yet.
He's definitely not top tier,
but his last fight people are looking past because he had a bad weight cut and he looked like crap, and then he got beat.
I think he's closing in on mid tier.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. Yeah, but I mean, there's definitely flashes of brilliance there. So it's
And then what's it called? M1 Global. Nate Landwehr won that tournament. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Nate Landwehr's a beast. He comes in with great pressure. He can take a punch. He will take a punch to land a punch. And at the end of it, I think he might put Rosa out, but Rosa's a tough dude. I don't see his path to victory as clearly, so I'm going to have to side with Nate Landwehr here.
I'm going to go with Nate Landwehr, and as also, like I said, on Friday, make sure you check our picks because I have a lot of really good bets for this card and a lot of money to make. So we'll move on here to Eddie Wineland versus John I can't say his name. Castaneda? Is that how you say his last name?
Let me see it.
Castaneda? Yeah,
Castaneda.
I guess that's how you say his name. And in the last 5, we got Eddie Wineland at 2 wins and 3 losses, and John at 2 wins and 3 losses. Eddie Wineland got knocked out by Sugar Sean.
Yeah, in fact, sad to say that's how most people are going to know this guy, but he's been fighting all the way back since the WEC.
Yeah, I was going to say, 36 years old. He's definitely on the decline in his career, so I mean,
but how much can you put into that knockout? I think it was a beautiful punch from O'Malley that probably would have put out most guys in the division.
It was a nice punch, but still, I think it's just not a matter of the setup of the punch, but his reaction time isn't the same, you know?
I think Sean O'Malley matched up really well against Eddie Wineland.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen him fight, he's got a really great style to watch. He's aggressive. He goes into that. He got his hands low, almost a karate style, where he throws a lot of wide stuff. He tries to pull you into a dogfight. But he has fought a wide array of guys that he's got.
And
Morale, Brian Caraway, John Dodson. Yeah, and that win against Popov is one I would look back to compare to this fight, where his opponent was actually willing to trade with Eddie Wineland. Kind of like, you really want to do this dogfight, and Eddie Wineland was game, and he came to play that time, and that's the only thing I don't have for Castenda on this one. He's also a really gritty guy, and he will go into that dogfight. And as you saw against that Nathaniel Wood, even though that was a loss, I like Nathaniel Wood. The dude can keep a pace, and he's got good strikes. And Castaneda stayed in the fight. He definitely kept the pace up. And
I think the UFC is doing him a favor because they matched him up with Wood as his debut. They're putting him in there against a vet that is on the decline. It's like, if you can beat him, then you deserve to stay. But if you can't beat him, then you're probably not going to make it in the UFC.
Eddie Wineland wants a dogfight, though, and I think Castaneda is going to give it to him. That's the only way. I mean, I think I haven't seen enough from Castaneda to know his game plan to stay on the outside and really tag Eddie Wineland up. But if it gets gritty, I like Eddie's chances.
I'm going to take John Castaneda, whatever his name is. I can't even say his last name, but I'm taking John in this fight.
I think I'm going to go Eddie Wineland in this one.
You going Eddie Wineland? All right. Moving on to Jakar Close versus Luis Pena. And the best thing I can say about this is the competition for Jakar Close in the most recent fights is a lot harder than Luis Pena's. And Jakar Close is this is his replacement fight. He's supposed to fight, I forget who he's supposed to fight. Herbert Burns? Or Jai Herbert? Jai Herbert, I think. Okay. Yeah, Jai Herbert. He lost to Beneil Dariush, but that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, like one of the most crazy KOs of last year.
But he did beat Martasaki, I don't know how to say his name, Lando Venata, and Bobby Green. So that's good.
Those are some good fights right there. And even that loss to David Tamer, he's a great kickboxer, and that's a tough one. But beating Lando Venata and Bobby Green by decision, no less, or
unanimous,
is awesome, because those are two guys that are super hard to hit. And Jakar just has that thing where he likes to back you up with the punches, and he can really feel it, and he really can cut off the cage with it.
And then if you look over here at Pena, he lost to Carmen Worthy. I mean, how good is Worthy? We don't really know yet. He's kind of like in the middle.
Up and down, yeah. He's done a lot of videos, though.
Beat Steve Garcia, lost to Matt Favola. He's kind of old.
That's what I'm going to be looking back on with this fight, too. Matt Favola definitely, he put it on him with the wrestling and the...
It was a tight fight, but lost.
I agreed, with that fight. Luis Pena, other than having the greatest nickname in MMA, Violent Paul Bros, he's got a mixed bag of just weird kind of things to use. But training out of AKA, I don't know if it's the best place for him, because even though he's got good jiu-jitsu, he's got okay wrestling, it hasn't seemed to get any better training over there at AKA. But standing up, you can tell he's just trying to get there. He doesn't have the power to make Jakar Close second guess closing the distance, and that really worries me in this fight, especially on short notice.
I was gonna say his body frame doesn't seem like it's built for lightweight, and he can make things interesting on the ground. Like, he's got them long limbs.
Absolutely.
So I think Close is gonna keep this on the feet.
But we've seen him not be able to finish on the ground too. He's like I said, he can get there. It's just it hasn't all come together for Luis Pena yet in the UFC. And it's sad to say, but I don't think this will be the fight where it happens. I think that I think he's going to grow into himself. I think he'll be a great fighter. But at this point here, I have to take Jakar Close just based on what I've seen with him. I think that Pena, the way to beat Jakar Close is to get into a firefight with him, tempt his ego into that. And I don't think that Pena has the tools to really hurt him if that happens. The only way he can win is pepper him up from the outside, but if this fight stays on the feet like I think it will, because Close isn't going to bring him to the ground.
No.
And Pena's probably not going to be able to take him down. So he's going to have to pepper him from a distance and really make him pay when they get in those clinch situations.
Yeah, I think Close has got this pretty much. Decision is the way I would bet it if I was betting. But I wouldn't bet on this fight, honestly.
I like Draco.
Yeah, Draco Close is probably going to win, but I wouldn't bet on the fight. Now we got Jared Gordon versus Danny Chavez. Jared Gordon, he trains with Paul Felder, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, Paul Felder's a pretty good guy to have in your corner. But
literally in his corner for that one fight.
Literally was announcing the fight. And he's like, okay, guys, I got to go get in my guy's corner.
Yeah.
So he's the plus 100 underdog, and Chavez, they're basically near even. Chavez is a slight favorite. I just see Chavez here being too good for Gordon, to be honest with you.
I think they bring a similar skill set to the octagon.
Yeah.
I think where Chavez really shines is in the speed, though. I think he's going to have a major speed advantage. He's got some mean kicks from the back leg. This dude can throw low kicks, high kicks, you name it.
Yeah, I feel like Storm. I feel like against T.J. Brown is when Chavez showed, because T.J. Brown, you know how I am about Bryce Mitchell. That's his training partner. T.J. Brown's got to be good on the ground, and if you look over here at Jared Gordon, that loss to Charles Alves got knocked out.
That's happening right now.
I think that's indicator of what's gonna happen in this fight. I think that Chavez is gonna take his head off. Like I said, there's 9 fights in the prelims. UFC knows something we don't know. Another one of these fights, I think Chavez comes out here and takes his head off.
Yeah, I mean Chavez is knocking people out. And
Diego
Jared
Ferrer.
Gordon's getting knocked out.
Diego Ferrer doesn't knock people out; he submits people.
No, yeah, that you can say the same about Charles Oliveira, even though his current run has been both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it definitely is more. A lot of these fights are kind of set up like this, with a well-rounded guy against a really athletic up-and-coming guy. And I think in this one, the athletic up-and-coming guy in Chavez is going to get it done with the kicks on the feet, and I think he'll be able to make it interesting on the ground. I don't think that Gordon has a clear advantage anywhere in this fight.
Yeah, definitely have to say that Chavez is winning this fight. So now we got Andrei Arlovsky versus Tom Aspinall. And Arlovsky went from fighting on a was he the main fight? No, he was the co-main event fight of a UFC fight night. And now he's on the main prelim. So that just tells you where they're taking him.
Well, where he's been, too. This dude's been fighting since 2000.
And he's fighting Tom Aspinall. I'm telling you right now. He has no shot against Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall.
We said the same thing about Tyler Barboza.
And Tyler Barboza won that fight.
He didn't
The
win.
judges don't know what they're doing.
He didn't win.
Tom Aspinall trains with Darren Till. Good striker, good on the ground.
More important than Darren Till, Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
This guy's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and has a pro boxing career and trains with Tyson Fury.
If you don't know who Tom Aspinall is, you're going to watch this fight this weekend. You're going to know who Tom Aspinall is.
Yeah, I think that Tom Aspinall is a hope that England has had for the heavyweight division, and I think it's coming. I think he's a force. This guy has got mean power in his hands, but he's smart with his shot selection. He's very technical. He keeps his hands up. He's quick. And what else can you say about him? This dude can get it done everywhere. He has a heel hook win. Professional heel hook win. How often do you see that in the heavyweight division?
There's a stat that when a fighter is 10 years older than the fighter that's younger wins 77% of the time. And you see Arlovsky here at 42 years old, and you got Tom Aspinall at 27 years old. So right there, that alone. And I think the probability of him winning is 62%. So you're telling me that there's a plus 11% chance that Aspinall's going to win, and that's easy. You're beating the bookies already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's straight up, though, and the odds are not good straight up. But if you take Aspinall by KO, I think it's plus 100 right now. That's the way to play this fight, because the Tyson Fury training right there is what's going to make this fight for him. He's going to hit him with the straight down the middle jab and maybe the right hand over the top.
I think on the other side, though, he has a game opponent in front of him in Andrei Arlovsky, the dude who's been here, done that. He's got wins by heel hook on the ground, too. We got 2 heavyweights who have won a fight by heel hook. I don't know how often you can say that. Being that they're so far apart, obviously Arlovsky has the experience advantage. This guy's fought everybody. And as far as Tom Aspinall, a main reason at 9-2 why he's not waiting outside the UFC to come in is that he couldn't find anybody to fight.
Even in boxing.
Yeah, he couldn't find a competition, so he's back. He's up at the big show. I think this is going to be a big one for him, and if he could beat Andrei Arlovsky, it would be the biggest name on his resume by far, and it would put him right up in the top. We'd be talking about him with guys like, Daukaus on the card here, if he can win. Chookagian.
But the thing is with Arlovsky, if you watch his last fight against Barboza, he had the size advantage, and that helped him out. And he was hesitant to throw against Barboza.
I don't know if he was hesitant.
He was countering Barboza.
He was patient. It was a chess match, and the guy who has been there and done that, the guy with the experience, came in there and beat the new guy with just, I'll wait.
And Aspinall's got a bigger reach, and he's bigger than Arlovsky, so he's not going to be able to do that again.
He's not going to be able to go out there and just manhandle this guy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's going to, I think the key to victory for Aspinall is definitely just.
He's going to knock him out.
But it's not going to be overwhelming. I think Andrei Arlovsky's going to have to throw something, and when he throws something, I think Aspinall's going to capitalize on that.
Yeah. He's going to come out, take center of the octagon, and throw some punches, counter him, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Night over.
Yeah, I think, the counter's definitely going to be there.
So, you're on Tom Aspinall too, obviously. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Taking the under
Just
there.
making sure.
Yep.
You're taking the under. I'm by KO. So, we're on Imavov and Phil Hawes, and this could be one that... This is my first underdog pick of the card, I think.
But it's so close to like a 50-50 just because...
Even worldwide, 69 and 62 for Hawes. So Phil Hawes has the experience, but I don't know if he has the strength of competition on his record.
Phil Hawes?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think Phil Hawes has fought the better competition. Honestly, that dude's been in Bellator. He trained with Don Jones. That was the big thing coming into the Contender Series. He might be the only guy that has fought on the Ultimate Fighter and the Contender Series.
But for the age-wise and, I don't know. 24 years old. Phil Hawes fought... Didn't he fight Kevin Holland?
No, I don't think so.
I thought he fought Kevin Holland. Because we were talking about it before when these two were matched up. But he lost to Julian Marquez. And you've seen Julian Marquez getting beat by Mackie Batoli for 3 rounds.
That was a different Julian Marquez. That was Marquez on the come-up. This is Marquez after he tore his lat.
Who here is Phil Hawes beat?
2 years ago.
I don't know any of these guys. Look at this record. 4-1, 4-2, 4-2. And it's all after losses. I don't know.
They're all first round, too. Everything he gets done is in the first round.
The reason I like him in Milvov is because he's game. He's from Dagestan. Trains out of Dagestan. And the longer the fight goes on, the better it is for him, honestly. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a good striker. Everything about him I like. Let's see here.
Good wrestling, of course. Yeah, on a 5-fight win streak.
Jordan Williams ain't really nobody to be hyped about. But that was a turnaround fight off of the Munir fight where he went up and fought in weight. He went up to welterweight. I believe that's what it was. Not sure.
That's his only competition too.
Yeah, he doesn't have many fights, but he's only 24 years old.
Definitely a young prospect. This dude can hit you backing up or moving forward. He's got good wrestling. He's got good cardio. He can last.
And he fights with Ngannou, and he trains with Ngannou and Cyril Gane. He fights out of that gym.
Okay.
So that's something else he has working for him. He's fighting with good competition.
But Phil Hawes has the force of nature on his side. This guy throws fucking bombs.
Yeah, if the first round, if you bet on Nasruddin, you're going to be holding your breath because this guy could get knocked out.
I think the smartest thing to do would be to watch this fight and watch Phil Hawes beat the living shit out of Nasruddin. And then if it gets past the first round, throw all your money on Nasruddin because Phil Hawes drops off a cliff. This dude gets tired. Honestly, he should have been matched up against Rodolfo last week. That would have been a hell of a fight.
I think he's with Sanford MMA now, though, too.
Yeah, definitely with Sanford MMA. I just don't know if it's a hurdle this guy can get over.
I don't think he can get past.
It's been a storied career a little bit. This dude's 32 years old and still a prospect, basically. Look at we're talking about him above he's a prospect because he's 24. Look at their records; they're exactly the same records.
Yeah, I think Nasruddin has the training partners, and I think he has the cardio, and he's very elusive on the feet. And if he's making Phil Hawes chasing him, Phil Hawes is going to get tired. If he doesn't hit that KO, he's losing the fight.
See, I'm going to have to go the other way there. I think at Sanford MMA, he does have the training partners. And I think he definitely has the power and the skill in the first round. And I think he's going to get Imavov out of there in the first round.
Nah, I'm on national team. You're on Phil Hawes.
Yep.
That's the underdog of this card. I'm telling you.
I don't think he's even going to be an underdog come time to the
Oh, yeah,
fight. I think it'll be pretty close.
Phil Hawes is going to be the favorite by the time this fight comes. I promise. He's already the favorite, I think.
Yeah, he started as a bigger favorite. It's getting closer.
No, I think he
started as a 200.
I think I'll check it, but I think it's getting wider. We'll go with Alexia, Olynyk, and Chris Daukaus. What do you got in this fight?
This one, I mean, I'm gonna start off talking about Olynyk, who's been around the block. This dude has the most fights on the roster as far as it goes, just competition out like anywhere, and he is seasoned. This dude has gone through every realm of UFC, and he's got that grip of a gorilla. He can, if he gets a hold of you, he's gonna wrap you up. He's gonna choke you. He has pulled people into mount on top of him and choked them unconscious. It's a guy who, it's definitely a test at this point in his career, an indication of where Chris Daukaus is. Olynyk has shown that if you tag him up on the feet, it's game over. Derrick Lewis in the main event tonight showed that you crack him once, you move around. Overeem beat him the same way. It's just a matter of just don't get too close. And I think that Chris Daukaus coming in out of he's out of Philly too, right?
Yeah, he's out of Philly.
Yeah,
he's actually a cop.
Yeah.
He's a cop in Philly.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still a cop.
Right. Well, Daukaus he has a great way. The way he fights is a good matchup against Olynyk because he fights at distance. He's very athletic for a heavyweight, and he throws very educated, fast combos that do not match up well against Olynyk. But tell me, man, don't let him get close.
Yeah, the UFC is actually pretty hype on the Daukaus brothers, and you look at Daukaus' last fight against Rodrigo Nascimento, I think is how you say his name. He's the same way, basically, Olynyk, but not as accomplished in the sport. He's a submission guy, and Daukaus went out there and pieced him up in 45 seconds and knocked him out. The thing with Daukaus, he's got the speed and the power.
Took his oath, too.
Yeah, he's got the speed and the power. And Parker Porter was even a bad matchup. They're just giving this guy matchups to promote him in the heavyweight division, I believe, and I think this is just another one of those.
I think it's definitely a test. I think they're going to try and see what he can do against, I mean, if he gets tangled up.
Yeah, but Daukaus is a black belt as well. He's no joke either on the ground. So
yeah,
I don't think
even that, though. If you can't tell me as hype as you are on Daukaus, and I agree. I think he should win this fight. But, dude, if it goes to the ground,
he's going to be scared.
I'm going to be very scared for him.
I just think Olynyk getting knocked out by Derrick Lewis in his last fight.
I think it really indicates what will happen in this one.
Yeah, I think
caught from a distance, and yeah.
I think that's just telling you what's about to happen. So we're both on Chris Daukaus.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and by KO from me. Charles Rosa versus Derrick Minner. Minner trains with James Krause. You know how I am on James Krause, so He just started training with him. Charles Rosa, slight favorite in this fight, -175 to the +150 of Minner, and I think Charles Rosa, as long as he can stay out of the submission of Minner in the first round, because this guy goes for broke on submissions every time he fights, and in 20 fights, he's either lost or won by finish.
Yeah.
Well, he has one fight that he didn't win by finish. In 19 out of his 20 fights, he's either gotten the submission or he's given up.
Wow.
So Charles Rosa is not out here finishing guys.
No.
But I think that he could potentially come out here with a sub, maybe. I'm definitely on Rosa in this fight. I don't think Minner's turned it around enough yet.
Yeah, I think Rosa's the more proven guy for sure.
Yeah.
I think he's been in there. He's done that. He's been in the UFC for how many fights now? A bunch of fights. 3, 4, 5.
The fight against Bryce Mitchell is really telling, too, because he didn't get subbed. And Bryce Mitchell's a beast.
He got finished by Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos is a beast, but he also went to the split decision loss to Yair Rodriguez when he was back in his heyday.
Yeah.
He's got a good decision win there over Kyle Wozniak, who's an exciting fighter to watch. No longer in the UFC. Lost there to Bryce Mitchell by unanimous decision.
The
But
Kevin Aguilar fight is
he could
good.
survive on the ground.
He got that win against Kevin Aguilar in split decision.
Yeah, I would have to disagree with this one ending in the distance, inside the distance. I think this is definitely one I wouldn't look at the under. I think I'd look at the over on this one. I think Minner will definitely go for broke, but Rosa is one of those guys with all the tools that just hasn't shown me that he put them all together. And he makes bad decisions in where he takes the fight. I mean, there's been times where he's winning and he's jumped down and winning on the feet and he's jumped down and into the person's guard and lost the fight that way. So I just haven't seen the right IQ, the right strategy adjustments from Rosa to be that confident in him. But if I did have to pick, I'd pick him by decision.
Yeah, the reason I'm saying under is one because 19 out of 20 fights. That's a stat right there in itself. But
if you saw that happen last week though with Gabe Green and Phil Rowe, but those guys weren't going the distance.
But I think that was because Phil Rowe was better than we thought.
Yeah.
And Gabe Green was really, like you said, making bad decisions. He could have finished the fight.
Yeah, but that dude ended up making bad decisions and winning the fight. That's it. So it's a toss up in how you look at that kind of stat.
But like I was saying, Rosa, if he goes into one of the submissions of Minner, he survives, which I think he will because Bryce Mitchell didn't sub you. He's not going to sub you.
Nah, definitely not. I don't think that he...
I
mean, there's always that chance. I mean, that guillotine's tight.
Yeah, I think that he can end up with a submission off of a submission attempt, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Or get the ground control to get to a submission, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I think we're both on Rosa, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Division. And
Gotta switch it back so I can add it. We're going to fix it right now. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. We added it.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
The problem is this card's 15 fights, and we didn't have enough audio slides added in, so we'll just go back through what we just said on this card. Sorry about that.
Starting over with Katlyn versus Yana Kunitskaya.
We'll make it quick and easy since you just watched us talk to nobody for a bit. So basically, breaking it down, we both agree that Katlyn's too big for Yana. Yeah. Yana's gonna want to take it to the ground, and Katlyn's good on the ground. She's a jiu-jitsu, and she submitted Sarah McMahon. Sarah McMahon's an Olympic wrestler, and if Yana isn't on the level of wrestling,
the way I see it is Katlyn has the advantage physically, emotionally, and strategically. I think she's bigger, stronger. She doesn't care if it goes to the ground. That's obviously where she wants it. She's got the power on the feet to win there. And just watching both of these people compete, Yana just looks sluggish in there. She backs up against the cage, and I don't know if she really wants to be in there when she's fighting. And on the other hand, Katlyn looks like a hype train worth getting on, and I think I could see her fighting against the best in the division.
Yeah, and also that's one thing I wanted to say is if you look, Amanda Nunes fights soon, and they're looking for new blood for her, and Vieira could be that chick.
She's got a couple fights to go before that.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's gonna be there, but
I'm just saying just the way their presence in the octagon, you can see her fighting those big fights.
They're looking to build her up.
Yeah.
All right, so we're both on Vieira.
On to the main event.
I'll add the audio. All right. So we got Derrick Lewis and Curtis Blaydes.
Black Beast versus Curtis Razor Blaydes.
Unfortunately, I like Derrick Lewis, but this is a bad match.
Everybody likes Derrick Lewis. He's a funny guy.
What's about to happen to Derrick Lewis is unfortunate for everybody. And Curtis Blaydes isn't afraid to tell you guys that, yeah, I'm going to come out here, I'm going to grapple, and that's pretty much it.
Khabib was one of the first guys to come out here, and you just know what he's going to do every time. You can't stop it. And Curtis Blaydes is emulating his style in more than one way at the heavyweight division. Derrick Lewis, everybody loves him, and that's why he gets that's why the UFC gives him these big fights, and it's not like he hasn't earned them. He's got wins on his record, but these last couple wins have been pretty salty in my book. That one against Latafi, who really should be fighting at light heavyweight, was just hard to watch. I mean, he had his moments in there, and we all know Derrick Lewis for an athletic heavyweight. It's hard to take down, and he's got power in that right hand. His cardio, he's had it. It works for him. But we've just seen him in fights like this too often. I'd like to see how he got bumped up against DC for the heavyweight belt, and that was just a mixed match from hell. And this mirrors that fight by more than one way.
Yeah, I think Curtis Blaydes is going to be one of those heavyweights that is near the top for the next few years because he's 30 years old now. He's in his prime. And if you look back here on his record,
he's got ones over Volkov,
Junior Dos Santos, Justin Williams.
Only lost to Francis Ngannou there. Alistair Overeem, Mark Hunt, Alexia Olynyk. He's put a lot of guys that are at the top of the division here. A lot of these guys are getting old, and that's not the case for Blaydes. I think he's just getting better. He's got that cardio, so he's definitely in there for 5 rounds. We've seen him do it. Against Volkov, he did seem to tire out a little bit in that 5th round, which could be something to be concerned about. But I like to see how, Derrick Lewis obviously beat Volkov after losing for 24 minutes. That fight was still on the feet, so he had the chance to land that shot.
Yeah.
He's not going to have the chance to land that power shot against Blaydes late in the fight because he's going to be tired of being taken down, and he's going to keep getting taken down and taken down. He's not going to have the right timing to set up his shot. Early in the fight, it could be interesting. I think we've seen Derrick Lewis hurt to the body. I think that's something Curtis Blaydes is going to take advantage of. I think he's going to crowd him. He's going to clinch him up, throw some shots to the body, maybe try and hurt him, wear him down, and then he's going to take him down against the fence like he always does.
Yeah, I think to the point that you mentioned as well, Latifi fighting a weight class up, taking down Derrick Lewis. What do you think? What do you think Curtis Blaydes is going to do? That's what I'm saying. So, I have to go with Curtis Blaydes, and probably by ground and pound. Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think Curtis Blaydes probably will get it. I mean, I could see it going all 5 rounds, too. But Derrick Lewis has been able to show some aspects of his game and be able to stand up. I don't think that will be the case against Curtis Blaydes. Whenever we see Derrick Lewis get up, it's from pure strength.
Yeah.
just squatting the guy off of him.
5
And
rounds.
when you're being held down and wrestled against somebody that knows how to use wrist control and top pressure and really weigh down on you, I think that it's something we're seeing a lot more of in MMA, and I think that kind of strategic move is going to be too much for just the pure strength of Derrick Lewis.
Yeah. I'm on Curtis Blaydes.
I'm on Curtis Blaydes too. I think I'm just gonna keep him maybe as a parlay piece at this point. I don't know if I'm gonna look into any props for that particular fight, but I think he's a pretty good parlay piece.
And then remember now on Friday I'm gonna sit down with James and we're gonna talk about some bets that we like. We're gonna try to post some more bets and show you guys what we think is the best bets for the card. And I feel really good about this card, honestly, for a betting perspective. You said you don't really.
I don't see many in just the picks, and like you're trying to get them
More
right.
of a live betting.
More of a props and seeing how the night goes along.
All right, so look for those picks on Friday night that James posts, and hopefully we all win money.
All right, let's do it.